Hello there, it's William jumping here. So let's continue our sculpting. So yeah, as I said, at a certain stage you need to save your project, and you can use part of your sculpting as a base for another creative, or just play around with it. Okay, so then you need to go back to the original to finish actual things. This can sort of spice things up, because if you continue to do this, the high poly sculpting is pretty repetitive, and you may just get bored pretty easily, and then that is definitely not a good thing to do. So yeah, let's go back to it, because we already have our fun, and let's go back to get the arms, and let's use the same method to extrude it out, but this time we're going to do it seriously rather than just play around with this. And upper body, we already sculpt mode. Yeah, pretty strange. Let's I think maybe the strength. Okay, we got this. We invert that, Control I, invert it, and we're going to move it out. Got this moving sculpt to set pivot to mask border or unmask. Also yeah, good enough to just extrude this out, but I tend to make it move forward a bit. So, and remember the arm do have a natural curve. It got that. Okay, so I'm going to do that, and things it got a sort of curve, so I'm going to add a little curve like this, and I think that's pretty much it. Okay, the rest you can sculpt it on. Okay, and yeah, I think maybe to scale this down a bit, because this part is not as big as the okay, as the upper part. So I think that's pretty good. Okay, and after you've done that, you're pretty satisfied with it, you can Alt M and to do the fine tuning. Okay, so let me just use this clay strip to add in more volume. I'm going to grab my pen here, make it smaller. Okay, so what I'm thinking is that we already got this bicep and tricep. The bicep is clearly not so prominent. Let me just grab this out a bit. That's definitely too small. Let me grab it big. Yeah, we got our bicep. Because the tricep is a little bit bunched, let me push it inside a little bit. Okay, and we got the bicep, we got the tricep. We got clearly there's a cutting line around here. Let me make it subtle, but adding a little bit part, and because this part should be composed of two line here. Let me add in control. Sorry. So you need to have a sort of uneven feeling. Okay, so you need to carve it inside a bit. And this part we need to got this muscle more defined by cutting a line here as well. This part. Okay, so sort of cutting this line and this part, and of course we also got the muscle right here. So what I'm going to do is to add a little bit marker out here, and then using a clay brush to adding the rest. Okay, so what I'm going to do is to adding this part of the muscle here, here, because we got this muscle connected to this joint here, and all the way up to his hand, okay, and rest is at here. So basically there are three sort of muscle, and we got a bulge here, so I'm going to add in a little marker so I can add it. We got a bulge, we got one muscle, we got two muscle, I think muscle group, and this muscle will go from here all the way to here, so it's a little bit curved, okay, and all this volume will be down. So I can just safely using pretty big brush to grab this to make it bulge out a bit, to adding the, this is just a quick way to adding volume to hand, okay. Make it smaller and more defined. Grab. Okay, so that will be a pretty good shape. This part is clearly like a bone, but for those of you guys who work out, this should be a little bit curved. So I'm going to adding that to make it more natural rather than the sort of a bony feeling. Okay, so of course you're going to look at it from different angle, so just don't make the hand this part weird. You can use the smooth, make it bigger but much more subtle to gently smooth it out, so it won't get a sort of a edged feeling. Okay, and remember when I talk about the bony part, we already add that curve, but we need to add a little bit of landmark to indicate that this guy got elbow here, and we got a pretty subtle bone shape from here all the way down. So I already got this elbow part when I sculpt it. This is just a simple landmark that we make along the way, so we can extend that to make it even more prominent. Okay, so I'm going to make it smaller and make it more subtler from this bone all the way down to make it subtle suggestion that there is a bone underneath it. And then I think because we got two bones here, so I'm going to move it closer, turn it around to his back. I think another bone will be here. Okay, so this way you can get a subtle hint of his bone part, and this already got a lot of volume here. Let me just add a little bit connection of the muscle, so it just become more volume here, so it won't get weird. Okay, I think we can extend this part out as well, so maybe add a little bit here, this part here, and then this part here, and leaving a little bit subtleness. Alright, and this part, I think I'm going to smooth this part out a bit, and Control R to remesh it. Okay, we got a little bit bony part, and there's a little bit curve. I'm not too satisfied with it. I'm going to revise it by pushing it in. Okay, this part I think we can push it down as well. Remesh it along the way. Okay, that's pretty good. Just to make it more logical, push it down a tiny touch And if you turn around, I think this part we did not think too much about the volume, so it should bulge out because the bony part should be the smallest part. So I'm going to make that smaller to push it inside a bit, and this part should be bulged out. I'm going to make it bigger to make everything here a little bit extruded, and changing the direction to make it bulge out a bit. Okay, and this part is definitely too smooth. Let me bulge it up, a nice curve. Okay, and this part, push it in, just fine-tuning it a little bit. That's too much. Let me push it in. This part, bulge it out. Okay, and push everything in slightly. And remember, always remember to change the angle frequently. This way, sometimes the 3D space can fool you. You might think that is okay in one angle, and when you change the angle, and you will see that maybe it's completely messed up. Okay, so like you are drawing multiple sketch images along the way. So that's the reason why I recommend that when you actually start learning drawing, you can learn sculpting along the way. It's a process that can help you to learn both of things, to improve both of things along the way. Let me add a little bit carve here to add a little bit variation. Subtle carve, holding control, got a little here. It should get a and recommendation is that you can grab the photo of bodybuilder. It can greatly help your understanding of the muscle, because the bodybuilder's muscle is pretty prominent. You can analyzing every shadow, every bulge along the way to make it more realistic. And if you think about it, that's what bodybuilders' whole life is aiming for, is that this is to perfect their body. Okay, so you got the perfect body that human can train for you, and you can analyze it, you can learn from it, and I think that's amazing thing to have. Okay, this part, maybe grab this whole part down a bit, is too much above, bring down a bit. This part, I think maybe we need to grab it down a bit as well. Okay. Yeah, that's more like it. So this is pretty good. Arm. And you might think that we already finished the arm, but there is still one place that we missed. Is from down below. Okay, so some of you may think that is already pretty good, but once you miss a certain angle, and then I think from down below is pretty easy to miss angle, because we never thought about this. And if you look at this pretty crude structure, we haven't added any of the texture on it. We haven't sculpted that in any way, and that is the place that I recommend that do check it very often. Okay, so sometimes we miss it, and we will miss it. It will just missing the pretty important puzzle to the whole picture. Alright, so remember we got this bony area here, and we're going to connecting the muscle from this the armpit to this bony area to make it more realistic and adding a little bit of texture as well as a volume to the end of this part. So let's use this brush to make it smaller and more subtle, so we have more leeway to work. We're going to add in a muscle here and all the way connect to this part. Okay, so you can see a nice curve from here. Got another part from here connecting. This has got a predefined muscle group, and this will be another muscle group here. Okay, so we'll start here on the way connecting to here. Alright, and we need to add a little bit curve because this guy always curve his hand in this way. Okay, so you can cover it in. So that's a good thing about sculpting, is that you sort of imagine how this person will do when they move their muscle, and it's a good practice to think of it along the way when we do the sculpting, because that's pretty defined. Let me smooth this out a bit. You need to consider everything connected. Everything is constantly moving, so we need to consider all that as well. Okay, smooth this a bit, but not too much, so we already add a certain volume at the end of it. Okay, and of course we also need to we already got this flexor muscle connected here, and this will be a muscle that's connected to the front, so we can use clay strip brush to add all this connection, and you need to find the best angle for this maneuver. Just adding a little volume, nothing too crazy. So it won't get too flat. Okay. Once you add that to the bony area, and bony area to the flexor right here, your character will look perfect. I'm just adding a little bit of realism. Okay. And I'm not too satisfied with the bone here, so I think I may mismatch this mistake I made. I draw the bone here, and I try to adjust this downwards. I think the bone should be here, the main bone should be here, and adding a little bit up and down to indicate. But the indication is right here, so it's the sort of a mismatch, and I'm going to rectify it by adding one more prominence here, and to replace the original suggestion that I made. Okay, so I'm going to make this much more prominent, and this part just adding a little bit up and down to indicate that it do exist. Okay, so this will be the actual bone in the center all the way down. This will be much smaller, so I'm going to smooth it out. Okay, maybe just to push it in just more aggressively. Just push it in. We don't want too much of the bulginess here. But do remember, you can add in a little bit of suggestion because the bone is like a heart shape. Okay, so you can add a little bulge, but the bulge should be here. Adding a little bit above and down to indicate this has got a tendon connected to it. and we also got a bulged muscle here. So this part should be a muscle-like structure. You can carve it out by adding a little bit carve above it. So that's how to to change and to make revision of what you have done, and you think that you need to adjust that. Okay, that's more like it. It's a little bit flat. Let me get it out. Push it in a little bit. Okay, because this part shouldn't be much more bulged than the bicep. You know, we tend to make the man's anatomy pretty strong, but not out of ordinary strong. You still need to conform to a certain norm for your viewer to see. Okay, you can't just say this need to bulge, this need to push in. That would be pretty weird. Okay, so yeah. And at the front view, as I adjust the volume, we can, using this brush, to adding a muscle group. So extensor from the back of this bone all the way to the front. Okay, so just adding a little bit, showing the structure. Okay, from here to here. Okay, just adding a little bit, showing that you know this muscle group do exist, is a real human being rather than some yeah. And if you want your character more defined, you can use this carve to get this part a little bit. Okay, so it's much more defined. Okay, and because of the gravity, you can adding a little bit drag here, because his extended the T-post. Sort of just grab this part down and push it in. This is showing too much, even though I know there's extensors here. Okay, that's a pretty good structure. This maybe need to push it in a bit. And yeah, and do remember, if you want make more subtle change, you need to make a brush big rather than small. If you want to make a prominent change, you need to make your brush small rather than big. So this is a sort of a counterintuitive thing to have. Okay. Alright, I think I'm pretty satisfied with this arm part, and then I think that's a pretty long video right now, so I'm going to pause this and make another video. So in next video we are going to focus on hand, and hand is one of the most difficult to draw structure as well as to sculpt structure. And if you are interested in AI art, you will notice that the original model, when they trying to draw, say, anime or generate a image that based on certain algorithm, they often mess up with the finger as well as a leg, something like that. So, but with the help of technology such as control net, if you are not familiar with that, it's totally okay. I got another structure, another playlist that's dedicated about the combination of the AI as well as art, and how to make it into a workflow to make your life much easier. Basically, it's just another modeling technology that can help you to make the posture, the pose of the character, as well as the fingers look much nicer rather than uncontrollable just based on prompt. They're based on certain algorithm, certain model rather than just try out your luck. Okay, and because of this, the sculpting of hand is of great importance, because it is pretty hard for you to draw, to sculpt, even for artificial intelligence to learn it. So yeah, you need to learn it, and you need to study it with special care. And once you capture it, it give you a more competitive edge in this real world. And obviously, I think this proportion of the arm is a little bit too big, so I'm going to just do not extend the arm too much, but use parts of the arm as a hand. So maybe the hand will be here. Okay, and yeah, I will do all this kind of adjustment in the next video. And clearly, this person missing the belly button, and I think the belly button will be at the approximately here. We will adjust that when we do our final touches of the sculpting. Okay.